Something you would have never dreamed of is less than 3 days away. Champions versus champions. Coventry City versus Arsenal, the first match of the Premier League season. A chance to announce yourself on the world stage against the Premier League champions. Some have waited years for this moment. Some have waited an entire lifetime. So the question I'll ask you is, what do we have to lose? What do we have to lose against the team that dominated the Premier League last season and nearly won the Champions League? Though unlikely, nothing is impossible, and I'm here to tell you why today. Welcome into the channel. I am so excited to be back and do this match preview with you. Thank you all so much for the recent support. Thank you all if you joined my Premier League Prediction League video. One was released yesterday, but don't worry, you've still got time to join. You just have to hit the link in my bio and drop your email in there, and the winner will receive a kit from my own money. We're up to 120 members. Show me that you have more ball knowledge than me, but please don't embarrass me. Anyways, little updates. No watch along for the game, ladies and gentlemen. I will be in Detroit at the Coventry City watch party. It's going to be an amazing time. I will be vlogging, so you'll be able to see that on Saturday. I think it's going to be a really good event, and I've got some really, really special news that I want to share with the community. I am actually going to be hosting the event. How cool is that? I was given the opportunity, and I'm going to take it by the horns. Just as how Coventry City are hopefully going to take this match by the horns. No, but seriously though, it's such a grateful moment for me. So thankful for this opportunity. I just thank you all so much for following along in my journey. I was watching back my match day vlog when I visited for the first time in January against Leicester City, and I was just so naive, and I did not know what was going to happen, and I'm just so grateful for it all. So thank you so much. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on this game. Please please subscribe if you haven't. And if you don't mind hyping the video, we would take that every day of the week. Now, let's talk about the big bad Arsenal. If you were here last year, you know we got pretty heavy statistical breakdowns. I'm feeling a little bit more like I want to break those half and half this year. So I'm going to give you a little bit of tidbits about Arsenal statistically, and then we're going to talk about, what we've seen from them, what they did to Manchester City, because I'm sure everyone knows, and then how Coventry should line up, how we're going to match up, and then score prediction at the end. So, the champions, Arsenal Football Club. They finally did it. They finally got over the hump. Much deserved. They definitely had some interesting methods and ways of going about it, but every single team tried to do things like, take advantage of corners, and they were the ones to do it the best. They scored 23 goals from set pieces last season. That was 32% out of their 71 goals. They had the second most goals just behind Man City narrowly. They had the most clean sheets in the league. They conceded the least amount of goals. Some interesting stats, a little bit unrelated and ones that maybe don't scare you as much. Just some things that I thought were, food for thought. They actually had the least long balls completed per match, which I think you can kind of chalk that up to the fact that they controlled possession. They had the third most possession in the Premier League. And, a lot of their games were just kind of, I guess you could say, cool, calm, and collected, even down to the fact that they had the least yellow cards in the entire Premier League. They had 50 yellows last year. For context, Tottenham had 99, and they were the number one. So they literally had just under double. And I definitely think that's something that Cov need to be wary of, and they need to be careful to not let their emotions get the best of them, even if it does, start to go poorly, like goals start to go in and whatnot. Try not to lose their heads. Arsenal know what they're doing. They take a long time to restart set pieces. They're going to get in your head. They're going to push you. They're going to shove you, and they're very good at it. There's a reason why they are able to get under so many players' skins in the season last year when they won the title. So I want to take a look at their lineup that they played against Manchester City in the Cup game this past weekend. I think this will be relatively close to what we see. I could see one or two changes. I do think that Rice, Saka, Eze maybe weren't in the plans to play, but the second half of that game was a little bit low intensity, and I think maybe Arteta kind of used it as a preseason match, which is disrespectful to say, but it didn't feel like Manchester City were attacking and really threatening too much. Obviously, Madueke, who played a decent amount of England minutes, came right into the starting lineup, which in my head, I kind of expected Rice and Saka to not play against Coventry City in this match. So it was pretty surprising to me to see them on the bench. And then as soon as I saw they were on the bench, I knew that they'd be coming in. I thought that they had like that mandatory off time, especially because they're both kind of hanging on by a thread at the end of the season, and they did, have very good World Cup performances. Saka even played in the third cup game or the third place match, which was a little bit shocking to me. Um, Arsenal's midfield was absolutely suffocating against Manchester City. I mean, to the point that it forced Rodri out the door. Probably helped him make his decision a little bit easier, although he probably was leaving anyways. They just did not allow for anything. They had no space when they got the ball. They were winning ball. They were quite literally taking the ball off Kovacic like he was a child with a candy cane or something in his hand. It was just way too easy. And that scares me a lot for this game. That's not the only thing that scares me. The set pieces definitely scare me. Being able to, stay mentally strong when things maybe aren't going the best. And then the attack, obviously, you know what you're getting here. So Zolas on the left side, he really impressed. He had a couple goal involvements. Milan Van Ewijk is going to have a test here. Milan is definitely someone that I really rate to be able to take that step up. I think his pace, his recovery speed, his football IQ are really going to do him a service here. But obviously now he's going to be tested against a bigger name player. Martinelli remains questionable. They're not sure if he is going to be on his way out or not, but I don't think they're rushing him back right now with Zolas the way that he's been performing in the preseason. On the other side, you got Madueke, who is rapid, can definitely take a defender on, and you know what, Jay Da Silva, this is your opportunity right here. We've been linked to left backs. You've probably seen him, Hugo Bueno, maybe one or two others. This is your chance right here. Show us that you can do a service against Madueke, and then when they bring on Saka, if they bring on Saka in the second half, show us what you can do. Show us that you can handle it. And then, of course, Havertz and Gyökeres up the middle. You probably would expect Gyökeres to start if he's fit. I know he's had links to other clubs, but I don't see that happening without another striker being brought in. I know they're also actively trying to offload Gabriel Jesus. It doesn't even seem like he's in the plans this season. But Havertz can cause chaos at any moment. He can score. So Bobby Thomas or Elamenda, they're really going to need to get physical with him. He's a tall, lanky, but strong striker. And then Gyökeres is just an absolute beast as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing those matchups there. My biggest thing is I don't know how these players are going to match up against the world's best. That's my biggest question in this match, because it could go really poorly very fast, or they could match up decent enough to hang on for X amount of time. I'll give you my prediction at the end. We're going to work through it. We're still kind of figuring it out. I think I'm kind of working through it as we go. Calafiori, another specimen who, despite being a defender, can find himself in the box. So that's just another person to account for. Our midfield is going to have our work cut out for us. And then, even if Bruno doesn't go the entire game, you could bring on Declan Rice. I think the goal for Coventry in this game is to get Arsenal to a point where they need to bring on their reinforcements. And the reason that I'm saying that is because that would mean that Arteta believes the game is important enough to bring them on, if you know what I mean. Like, obviously, if it, God forbid, it ends up being like a 4-0, 5-0 thrash, you might bring them on just because it's minutes in the legs. But I mean, like, in the sense of, it's 0-0 at halftime, or it's 1-1, or it's 1-0, but we're attacking and we're creating chances. Bring on those players to shore up the game. I would hope that we could get to that point. So with that, let's move to Coventry. Let's look at their lineup. And I gotta be honest with you, despite being a Coventry City fan, I actually am a little bit uncertain about the lineup. And we're gonna figure it out together right now. We're all in this together, as they said in that movie. So this is what I've got for sure. So now we're no longer playing a 4-2-1-3. It's crazy how things change so quick. It's a flat 4-3-3. These three players developed some ridiculous chemistry in about 90 minutes of playing with each other, and it was just so good to watch against Monaco. I totally understand that Monaco were not up to their best in that match, but it was just really promising, and it helps build, some good confidence going into like a really difficult game like this, especially after seeing what Arsenal did to City. So you've heard my theory before with the midfield. It's to death by 1,000 paper cuts. Our midfield is by far the deepest position that we have right now. So you've got Grimes, Onyeka, and Urenchi. You can also bring in Josh Eccles. You can also bring in Victor Torp. You can also bring in Gustavo Hamer for some creativity. And I think we'll definitely see two out of the three, one out of the three for sure, maybe two out of the three in this match. Just kind of depends on the game flow and how things go because you're going to need some skill players in there. My biggest concern with putting Urenchi directly in and kind of having him as that pseudo number 10 or just one of the midfielders in the flat three was there enough creativity? But I actually liked Brandon Thomas Asante on the left hand side to add to that creativity and almost act as a fourth midfielder in a way. So I don't think Efron Mason Clark is going to be fit for this game. So with that being said, and I actually think that this one could get a little bit of pushback, I'm going to go with Brandon Thomas Asante here. I enjoyed how he pushes into that midfield and adds an extra body. But then there's also times where, he could take on a defender. It's not his best skill, his best attribute. His best attribute is like that he can run for days and, his counter press is good. He can make a good pass here and there. He obviously had like the pass to the assist for the Loom Chauna goal, which speaking of Loom Chauna, I'm going to put him in as our starting right winger. I'm definitely disappointed to not see Sakamoto in the friendly, but it was rumored that we played Nottingham Forest behind closed doors on Saturday, so I'm going to assume that that's when he played. I was a little surprised to see him go directly into the starting lineup and kind of be that guy instantly, but of course, you got to follow the money. That's where the money goes, so he is going to start this game. I think he's got some real potential on him, honestly. Like, he's got such a good left foot. I want to see him take on more defenders, so he's going to have a good matchup. He's going to be going up against, let me do the math here. He's coming in on the left. He's going to be going up against Calafiori. So Calafiori is pretty good defensively. Obviously, he's known for his, like, attacking prowess, but that'll be a good opportunity for him. Use his physicality, use his strength. I want to see him take on defenders. And I also wouldn't mind seeing him, cut the ball in and really have a crack from outside the box with his left foot. When he gets those on target, it seems like he can really score some good goals. He scored a couple bangers in his career based on his highlight tapes. I'm looking for a big game from LT. I'm looking for him and BTA on the wings to get out and run when we do have those chances because let's be realistic here and let's talk about what we're going to look like off the ball. It's not going to be fun and we're going to have minimal chances and we're really going to have to take advantage of them. And I just realized I accidentally did not add Jay DaSilva in there. That was not a position battle at all. Jay DaSilva starting this game. He's earned the right. He's going to start. We have to see what we've got with Jay DaSilva. Simple as that. If he gets skinned, then we're on the phone with Wolves that evening for Hugo Bueno. Do not let him play the next day, whatever. If he doesn't, then maybe you reconsider. Who knows? Who knows? I still think you probably need some coverage, but it just depends how much money you're willing to put in. Because if he goes down, you're going to have to play someone out of position like a Kessler Hayden. Would you ever consider playing a center back out there? Probably not. I don't think any of our center backs would have the pace to do it. If Latsabodier was a little bit quicker, I'd put him out there potentially and give him a run in. I know he's played right back in the past, but obviously the Premier League is different gravy. Maybe against Hull if you absolutely had to, but at that point I'd rather just go with like a Kessler Hayden. So now the striker department, this is an interesting one because we have confirmed the signing of Taiwo Awoniyi, my apologies, from Nottingham Forest. And by the way, fair play to the Forest fans. They gave him a really nice send-off. A lot of really nice Forest fans in the comments, just with nothing but nice things to say about him. And the gist of it is, if the man can stay healthy, which I've got a good feeling he will, he can be an impact maker. He was the reason that they stayed up, or one of the reasons. He had a really good run-in to gain them some points. He got 10 goals in 27 appearances in the 2023 season, and Nottingham Forest stayed up. So for that, and then also all that he's been through with, that horrific injury, colliding into the bar, he got a really proper send-off. So I hope he's ready to go. Hope he's ready to put that chapter behind him and enter a new one. And you know what? This locker room, they can make anyone and everyone feel welcome. So that I'm not worried about at all. He'll be like LT and Arella Menda posting TikTok dances. What 2 weeks into knowing each other, like it's just gonna snap like that in the locker room. So I'm gonna absolutely love to see that. I'm gonna love to see how he integrates. He's gonna play in this game 100%. I just don't know if he's up to starter minutes. I think Ellis Sims has earned the right to start this game. Haji Wright's nowhere to be found. Who knows what's going on with Haji Wright? But I definitely am going to be looking forward to seeing Taiwo Awoniyi in this game, and it's going to be in those dire moments where, well, I mean, hopefully we get to those dire moments where we are either chasing a game that's potentially salvageable or we do need a goal to go ahead in a game. And I just love the look of that front three on the counter. And you could definitely make an argument for Sakamoto, I will say. You can absolutely make an argument for Sakamoto on the right-hand side because Sakamoto isn't going to be that profile of player that you're looking for late in the game when you want to hit Arsenal on the counterattack. And Sakamoto is going to give you more on the defensive side. But LT, I think, definitely has a little bit more raw talent. He's obviously more powerful. But to be fair, if you do get some extended spells of possession, especially later in the game, maybe when defenders are switched off a little bit or they're a little bit tired, Sakamoto will be luxurious. Watching him come off the bench a couple times in the championship last season was just an absolute joy. It was just so fun to see him skill defenders who were already tired. He's just got such good flair to him. I think he's gonna have a great season. Who would I substitute in this game? I guess it's kind of depends on how the game actually goes. I know for a fact our midfielders are going to be exhausted by 70 75 minutes. So the question is, are you going to bring on like a Hamer for a Llorente? That'd be my guess. You're probably going to take off Llorente and then you're going to bring on Gustavo Hamer. And then do you take off Grimes or Onyeka? It depends because Onyeka had such good intensity for the entire time that he was in against Monaco. And that actually gets me to how we look off the ball. So off the ball, we were running a 4-4-2. So normally it would be whoever's the number 10 and then the striker. Just pretend this is Ellis Sims. It was actually Frank Onyeka, and I thought it looked really good. But the one question slash concern, and you can get down in the comments and let me know what you think. Is it worth doing that against Arsenal? Watching Man City try to press in this area, I think was their first big mistake because Arsenal are so good at breaking presses. David Raya is comfortable on the ball. Every single one of their defenders is comfortable on the ball. So it automatically just gives them a 1 or 2 man advantage because 3 or 4 passes will get them out of this area and then it'll break through to the next level. So do you want to have a 4-4-2 if they're willing to sit deep and try to synchronize their pressing? I think these two have played together, but it'll likely be Sims for most of the game. It's possible. I like the energy of it. I like the ballsiness, for a lack of a better term, but this is just total different gravy levels of competition. So I do wonder if you just try to pack the midfield as much as possible and just shift into a 4-5-1. But theoretically, based on how Coventry City have played for over the past, season, every single time they were off the ball, it would shift into a 4-4-2. So it'd be like a Radoni coming up here acting as that second striker. And you know what? Ellis actually impressed me pretty well with his pressing in the Monaco match. In that first half, he definitely tailed off, but I don't think his fitness is there. I don't think many of the players' fitness is there yet. I mean, they're all getting there. It's going to have to be realistically. BTA's fitness is probably there. I'd say our wingbacks are probably at full strength. Bobby looks like he's up to full force. He's looking mean. He's looking ruthless. Amenda's definitely getting there. LT can run for days. Grimes looks good. Like, everyone's really impressed and looked good for me. But let's just see what happens. So like I said earlier, my goal for this match is to, 1, not get embarrassed. 2, make Arsenal have to bring on their prime substitutes that they attempt to go through the game without using, in the sense of the game stays close. So keep the game close. Make sure that they have to bring on Saka. Make sure they have to bring on Rice. And overall, just see how we match up at the end of the day. This is a free hit. Really, not a single person in the world expects us to win this game. The sportsbook have us at 13-1 to win this game, which, I mean, doesn't sound impossible, but very, very unlikely if you know how sports odds work. $100 would give you back $1,300 or pounds, which is absolutely insane. And let's get a goal. Let's get a goal and see what happens. That's really what I'm thinking about. Let's get a goal. Let's keep our heads. Let's not get anyone sent off, and let's hope that the headlines on Saturday are that Coventry City gave Arsenal a run for their money. Whether that means losing, whether that means getting a point, whether that means winning. I just want a respectable performance where the boys aren't going to be, sulking and really being upset, because Hull City is going to be a huge match the following weekend. Obviously, we've got the cup midweek against Argyle, but I think it's going to be a pretty heavily rotated squad. But morale-wise, I just don't want us to get embarrassed. So with that being said, I unfortunately don't think Coventry City are going to win this game. I do think we get a goal. And I'd be pretty happy with that. I wouldn't be satisfied, but I'd be happy with us scoring a goal, get that first one out of the way, especially before Hull. But I do think we're going to concede about 3 goals, 2 goals, 3 goals in this game. So with that being said, and this is on my pure predictions as well, I could make some late game changes, so don't just copy my picks and try to get the same scores as me. 3-1 to Arsenal is going to be my final score. And I apologize, but I actually didn't go into this video with a final score prediction, but I think the analysis and the talking out loud that I did led me to that number. And I think a lot of people think that this game's going to be an absolute murder. I think it'll be close. If a 3-1 can be close, I think it'll be something like, 1-0 at halftime, maybe 0-0. We'd be dreaming if it was 0-0 at halftime, but I think we're going to be okay. If we can get past that first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes, obviously Man City couldn't. I think we're going to settle into the game a little bit, but it's just a question of, can we sustain any possession and string anything together with the players that we have? We're pretty decimated. We don't have a backup left winger. As simple as that. Like I don't see Raphael being brought on in this game. I don't know actually. I don't know if Efron Mason Clark is available to even come off the bench. That'd be a dream. If Rodoni could come off the bench, maybe, but then you lose a lot of defensive coverage. To be fair, you do with Hamer as well, but you add that dead ball ability. Who knows? Maybe we can nick one from a set piece. I just want to see a goal. Let's go 3-1 Arsenal. That is going to be all. Sorry, guys. Sorry. First off, we yapped, but I think I got my point across. Let me know your score predictions in the comments. Let me know your breakdowns. I love reading them. It's great stuff. It's fun. And at the end of the day, we're in the Premier League, man. So this is going to be amazing. Keep an eye out for a video from me tomorrow. And I've actually got a little side project, passion project thing that I'm working on to hopefully launch in the next week or two. So lots of good stuff going on the Joner Fat Cat channel. You may as well subscribe. All right. Thank you all. Play up Sky Blues. Peace out.